Sukui Gar! Greetings, I am Tad Larkin, the lore master of Manda-LORE, and today I'll be digging through the archives to elaborate on the infamous Republic defeat at Jabiim. The year is 20.79 BBY, 1 year and 2 months after the Battle of Geonosis, and this rain-soaked mud ball in the Outer Rim has become one of the most contested spots in the Clone Wars between the Galactic Republic and Dooku's Confederacy of Independent Systems. Preluding this battle, in the first few months of the Clone Wars, a pro-separatist revolutionary named Alto Stratus staged a coup and ousted the Jabiimite Congress from the capital city of Chol, and thus taking over the world. The remaining pro-Republic loyalists pleaded for help, and with no answer from the Republic's Senate, they formed their own militia, led by Captain Orlus Gullman, to combat Alto Stratus and his Nimbus commandos. Not coincidentally, it wasn't until valuable ore was discovered beneath Jabiim's quagmire of a surface that the Republic finally took interest in lending military aid to the beleaguered world. Leading the Republic counter-invasion of Jabiim was Jedi General Obi-Wan Kenobi, his Padawan Anakin Skywalker, Advanced Recon Clone Trooper Alpha-17, Jedi Masters Cirrus, Norcana, Leska, and their respective Padawans. Upon arrival, the Republic concentrated their forces in Jabiim's northern hemisphere, establishing forward positions at Shelter Base and Cobalt Station. Because of the muddy conditions and frequent lightning storms, the Republic had to rely on walkers for anti-tank and infantry support, such as the AT-TE, AT-XT, and the experimental AT-AT that was still in its prototype stage. Stratus, meanwhile, struck a bargain with Count Dooku, and in exchange for CIS membership and military aid, Stratus would grant him exclusive mining rights to Jabiim's newfound ore deposits, to which Dooku agreed. Separatist droid forces were landed in the Hyber Canyon, and Stratus held them in reserve, choosing instead to utilize his local forces until the time was right, concentrating them at Chol and the Razor Coast. For nearly a month, Republic clone and loyalist forces clashed with Alto Stratus's men, but were unable to capture the elusive Stratus, due to him surrounding himself with his elite Nimbus commandos. Around 20 days into the battle, Alto Stratus revealed his full strength, and unleashed his droid reserves upon Shelter Base in a surprise attack. The fighting was brief yet fierce, and though the Republic were caught off guard, they managed to stave off the droids. However, during the battle, an AT-AT was brought down, and both Kenobi and Alpha-17 worked to evacuate the clones inside, but it exploded, and they were presumed dead. In reality, Kenobi and Alpha were pulled out of the wreckage before it exploded by the Dark Jedi acolyte Asajj Ventress, who proceeded to capture them and bring them to her palace on Ratatak. Before he lost too many droids, Stratus withdrew his troops to Chol, and Jedi Master Norcana, who was now in command after Kenobi was presumed dead, pursued him there. By day 28, Stratus crushed Norcana's forces on the outskirts of Chol, and he personally beheaded the Twi'lek Jedi Master. General Leska was now in command, and on day 30, she sent the Padawan Pack, a group of Padawans whose masters were killed in the earlier fighting, led by Anakin Skywalker, to accompany a supply convoy to fortify positions at Cobalt Station in the north. Anticipating this, the Seps set up a minefield in their path, and Stratus's forces awaited an ambush, which was launched on day 34. Though inexperienced, save for Skywalker, the Padawan Pack held their own, and at one point in the engagement, Anakin nearly had Alto Stratus in his grasp before being knocked back by an explosion and pulled to safety by his comrades. Recovering, Stratus pulled his forces back to regroup near Chol, while the remnants of the Republic convoy continued to Cobalt Station. Meanwhile, General Leska took her detachment to the Razor Coast, anticipating to find Stratus. She didn't, and by day 37, Alto Stratus sent a detachment of his forces to counterattack the Razor Coast, destroying Leska and her forces. With Leska's detachment gone, the remaining clone and loyalist forces at Shelter Base retreated to a high mesa in the south to await evacuation. Due to the heavy storms, transport ships were unable to land at the mesa until the weather cleared, and Alto Stratus knew this, so he consolidated all of his forces and pressed his attack, One thing was getting in his way, however: Cobalt Station. Anakin and the Padawan Pack made preparations to hold out at Cobalt Station for as long as they could, to buy time for the transport ships to evac the forces at the Mesa. Before they could dig in, an emergency transmission from Chancellor Palpatine came through, and he personally requested that Anakin retreat south to lead the evacuation efforts, to which he reluctantly agreed. On Day 39, CIS forces finally made it to Cobalt Station, and Stratus released a devastating opening volley of Hellfire droid missiles on their entrenchments. The last stand at Jabiim had begun. For 4 days, clones and droids slugged it out in a valiant defense. However, one by one, each member of the Padawan Pack was slain. Tay Diath by assassin droids, Alora Sund by her force bond with Tay, Window Nend by a Hailfire droid, Zul Zis by a falling AT-AT, Mac Lotor and Cass Todd in each other's arms by Hailfire missiles, and Vabesh when his containment suit was breached by shrapnel. In the final moments of the battle, the last Padawan in the pack squared off against Alto Stratus, both parties tired and exhausted. And as Aubrey Wynn moved in to strike Stratus down, he shot her with a concealed blaster. However, as she fell to the ground, she plunged her lightsabers into Stratus's torso, ending them both. On Day 43, Anakin arrived at the Mesa, and after learning of his comrades' deaths, he was put in a difficult position regarding evacuation. Pushing through the dangerous atmospheric storms, only a few transports made it to the surface, and there was not enough room to take everyone. So, Anakin made the difficult decision to load the clone troopers and other Republic hardware and leave the Republic loyalists. Anakin justified that the clones and their equipment would be needed on battlefields elsewhere. However, Captain Olas Gilman was understandably angry and held Skywalker with contempt for the rest of his life, which would cause difficulties in the future for the Rebel Alliance during the Galactic Civil War, but that is a topic for another transmission. By the end of the battle, the body count for the Republic was staggering. Over 10,000 clone troopers, 27 Jedi, and uncounted armored vehicles were lost, compared to the CIS, which lost uncounted amounts of battle droids and over 8,000 Jabiim nationalist soldiers. In the aftermath of the battle, the wounded clones were taken to New Holstus in the Mid-Rim, and Anakin was placed under temporary mentorship of Jedi Master Asherad Het and later Ki-Adi-Mundi, before being reunited with Obi-Wan weeks later. Though Gulliman and the Loyalists remained, Jabiim was now in the hands of the CIS, who exploited it for its minerals and would hold it to the end of the war. The Battle of Jabiim itself was a PR nightmare for the Republic, and was touted as the Republic's most devastating defeat in the HoloNet news, among a string of other defeats on multiple worlds, culminating in General Grievous's push into the core. This was the point where the war was seemingly lost for the Republic. This transmission was suggested by Heavy782. If you have any suggestions for future transmissions, don't be afraid to drop a comment. If you'd like to support this channel, please visit my Patreon to find out how. Link is in the description. In the meantime, keep your comm channels open for future transmissions, and don't forget to subscribe. Tad Larkin.